Hey guys, it's Fida and today I've come up with a really easy cake recipe. We're not going to be making it in oven, so if you don't have an oven, you should try this. It's really good. So I'm going to be making a steam cake, and I'm going to be making a chocolate steam cake, and I'm going to pour chocolate ganache over it. I have the recipe to the chocolate ganache in another video of mine, which is gooey chocolate cake recipe. I'll leave a link in the description down below if you want to check it out. It's a very simple cake recipe which you can just make it in a steamer or just put it over a boil, and it's gonna come out perfect just like how you make it in an oven. Just really spongy and chocolatey, and it's super delicious. So without any further ado, let's get on to making it. First, here I have a 6-inch cake pan which I've greased with oil and dusted with flour. Instead of the flour, you can also replace it with cocoa powder, and also you can use parchment paper. Let's set that aside, and I'm going to start making the cake batter. Here I have a large bowl into which I'm going to combine all my dry ingredients. I'm first going to add in the sugar. This is normal white granulated sugar. I have 1 cup of it. Then I'm going to set a sift and sift in 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, four tablespoons of cocoa powder, 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and half a teaspoon of baking powder. I'm also going to add in a pinch of salt. Now I'm going to sift all these ingredients. And then whisk that until well combined. And for this recipe, we don't need any hand beater or stand mixer. You can just make it by using a whisk, spoon, fork, or a spatula. So the dry ingredients are combined. Let's get on to making the wet ingredients. For that, here into a large cup, I'm going to add in 3 eggs. Then add in 3/4 cup of buttermilk. If you don't have buttermilk, all you can do is take 3/4 cup of milk, and into it add a teaspoon of vinegar or lemon juice, and just keep it for 5 minutes. After that, it'll turn into buttermilk, and you can use it for cakes and anything you want. I'm also going to pour in 3/4 cup of oil. And whisk that until well combined. Just get all the ingredients incorporated really well. Wet ingredients are ready. I'm going to bring back my dry ingredients and combine the dry ingredients with the wet ingredients. So I'm going to pour the wet ingredients over the dry ingredients. I'm going to pour half of it at once, and then I'm just going to whisk it and combine it, and then I'll add the rest. This time also just use your whisk and combine it as much as you can. After that, add the rest of the buttermilk. I'm going to keep a little for later. I'm going to combine this batch of the buttermilk. And add in all the rest of the buttermilk. Now combine that really well. Just use the whisk and keep whisking until it's nice and smooth. Now we have one final ingredient to add in, that's coffee powder. This is optional. I always say it in all my videos. In every chocolate cake I make, I add coffee powder because it intensifies the chocolate taste. So if you want, you can add it or just leave it. A 1 teaspoon of coffee powder with 2 tablespoons of water. I'm just gonna mix that well and add it into the cake batter. Give that one final mix, and here the cake batter is ready. So let's pour it into the baking pan which we greased earlier. So let's pour it. But before that, I'll just quickly show you how we're gonna steam it. So here I have my steamer. There is water underneath the plate and there's a plate on top with tiny holes so the steam can come directly into the cake. I'm gonna pour the cake batter into the baking pan which we greased earlier, and make sure you don't overfill it. 1, because it will overflow, and 2, because this cake tends to crack when you overfill it and when there's a lot of batter. So it's always better to keep a little bit amount of cake batter. I'm gonna tap it quite a few times and release all the large air bubbles. And I'm gonna keep it into the steamer. I'm gonna cover the cake with foil. That is because the water from the steam will fall directly into the cake and the cake is gonna get all soggy and bad. For that, I'm just gonna cover it with some foil and poke around 2-3 holes, not more than that, just to let some steam out. And then I'm just gonna close the lid and put the flame on medium and let this bake for around 45 minutes. This cake, I overfilled it a little bit, so I'll show you how the top cracked. That's the reason why I said to pour a little bit less of the batter. It came all the way to the top and it had a big crack on top. And it also took 45 minutes. So I'll show you there. It had a big crack. And the foil also had been touching with the cake. So it's always better to fill it a little bit lower. And I also made a second cake into which I poured very little bit of batter and it came out perfect and the flat top was really good. And this cake also took only 25 minutes, so the timing will differ according to the height of your cake. I'm just gonna insert a skewer and show you. It's baked perfectly. This is the bigger cake which had a crack on top. I cut out the crack and I'll show you. That's really well baked and it's really spongy and fluffy. This is a really nice cake for carving also, so you can use it if you make any shapes. I'm going to take the cake out of the pan once it's cooled. And all I have to do is pour the ganache on top. As I told you, I have the link in the description to the ganache. So you can try it out. It's a really tasty ganache. I'm just gonna pour the ganache all over the top of the cake and let it drip. This ganache goes really well with the steamed cake. And you can also try it with some other cakes. It's gonna be equally good. That's it. I'm just gonna let all of the chocolate ganache drip, and here that's ready. I'm gonna tap it and flatten the top for at least 5 minutes. I'm gonna leave it like that so we'll get a really nice top, and after that I'm gonna cut into it. So you can see how the ganache is. It's very smooth and silky, and the cake, as you can see, is really soft with the gooey ganache and soft chocolatey cake. It's really good. Everyone should try it. It's already mouth-watering, so I'm gonna serve it. And there we have our chocolate sponge cake with the chocolate ganache. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you liked it, and if you did, please give me a big thumbs up down below. Also subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Thanks once again, and bye bye.